If you want to learn Microsoft Excel and as well Power BI, this particular channel will never disappoint you for that. So in today's video, we're going to be looking at how to create this particular beautiful Excel dashboard right on my screen. It's something very simple. I'm going to show you how to actually have it created. So before we delve in, let me show you something. So over here, this is what you're going to actually read through to understand where you stand as a data analyst before you start creating charts and even writing functions and formulas. So right here, it says management has observed that revenue is improving, but profit margin is weakening. Fast-moving products are experiencing stock pressure while some slow-moving items remain overstocked. So what can we do? So what I've done right now is to some kind of tracked net revenue, compare the current month with the previous month, and as well did that for the profit as well, then profit margin and how many transaction. So our main focus is looking at products that are doing well and all of that. So over here, we were able to actually do top 5 products. What is the contribution? 63% versus the order. And over here, we have a recommendation for the management. So coming over here right now, we're trying to look at revenue, monthly revenue, profit, and the trend over here to see how we can actually make management to look at what the fluctuation is. Then right in here, we're looking at the branch level, right? Then the most important part of it is this particular part right in here, where we check the understock, healthy stock, and overstocked. You understand? And this particular part is the product opportunity right in here. Don't worry, if this looks some kind of like, how can you read this? We're going to actually do that in the class, and I'm going to show you how useful this particular chart is. And after that, we actually added another insight and as well recommendation right in here. So we're going to be having the help of AI like Claude in Excel and as well GPT, specifically if you don't have Claude to actually help you get things done. So the Claude in Excel is a paid version, but don't worry, if you can't pay for Claude, you cannot use it. I'm going to show you how to achieve the same thing with free GPT. So all you have to do right now is to make sure you subscribe, follow me step by step throughout this particular series, as I'll be showing you new things you have never knew exist inside Microsoft Excel. So let us get into the class. I have done every single thing that will make the dashboard very easy for you to create. So once you actually have the resources file downloaded, please take a look at this particular, business case right in here. So the most important part of them all is this particular problems here and the role you have to play and who the audience are. Please thoroughly read this. After we have done that, now we have to actually look at the data we have and study them, because if you don't study them, you might not know where to pull those particular information or insight from inside the dashboard. So here's my data. So to study this particular data right now, use the data dictionary right in here to guide you through what every single columns and rows here are actually talking about. Then the next thing now is to look at the business question. If you look at it, we have these particular ones highlighted in yellow. Those are the ones you and I are going to actually work on today. So those ones that are not highlighted, if you want me to continue creating the video and answer those questions, please just tell me continue in the comments and I'll be glad to do that for you. So now those are the business question, the recommended analysis, and as well the suggestion, which is suggested visual, right? Okay, after that, we have to look at the KPIs we have to define. So we have the KPI, the definition, the logic, and the management meaning here. So those are the 3 KPIs we're going to actually be creating right now, right? So I think I'm going to actually add one, but let me show you where I have actually extracted every single thing I want to show in my dashboard writing. Then I got everything from this particular page and this very one right in here. So let us look at this. So over here, we have this particular, text file here, and this is talking about my KPI. If you look at it, we have revenue, we have profit and profit margin. And if we go back all the way here, we have the same exact thing right in here. So maybe your question now will be, what is the difference between this one and that one? On this one, I'm going to show the total revenue. And aside that, I'm going to show the average monthly revenue. And to make it much more interesting to actually make decision with, I'm going to actually show this particular one, which is the versus last month, which means showing the current month the current month and the last month and telling you the growth. Maybe it's declining or it's actually growing. You understand? So I'll do that to every single KPI is right in here, right? So we have another KPI we're going to be creating together. That is going to be the inventory status. So where we look at the overstocked and understocked and the health. Not just that, we're going to actually, throw more light on it that somebody can click and actually get to those particular products that are overstocked or understocked and others. So we're going to be looking at the charts we're going to be creating. This was gotten from what we have inside here. I am not just actually inventing things, so everything is being extracted from here. So to make it easy, just do this to actually know the area of focus. It's very important. I hope you get this. Please don't forget to subscribe to this particular, account. Is very important. If need be, help me share, and your comment is always welcome, and it helps me to actually keep on building for you guys. Please go ahead and drop a comment, even though if it is just thank you, do that for me. Everything we do here is based on steps. So the very first thing you have to do is to add a particular, worksheet, and I'm calling mine pivot engine. You can call it analysis, back end, whatever you want to call it. It's all your choice. You can actually still use the same name as mine, and we have our dashboard here. So for the first time, we're going to be focusing on what goes into the dashboard, which simply means we have to be in the pivot engine to create our analysis and actually showcase that in our dashboard environment. Okay, so our data is 100% clean. We don't need any cleaning. So I told you study the data by using the data dictionary. But right now we have to actually go ahead and take a look at how to create this particular KPI, this, and this. They are very easy. Let us try to investigate if we have the columns already. So over here, if I scroll to this particular end, you can see I have my net revenue, I have the cost, I have the profit, and as well I have the profit margin. But unfortunately, you are not going to need to use this particular profit margin right in here because it's not going to make sense. I'm going to show you why. So now, if you come over here under the quantity here, you're going to see -1, -2. Please don't truncate it. It's okay. We're going to be needing that particular negative values later. It's very important. So after we have known that we have all the columns we want to use existed inside this particular sales clean reference, let us go ahead and create a new pivot table. So go over here and click on insert. From insert, you're going to see this particular pivot table. So click on it, and right in here, click on existing worksheet because we already have this right here. Let us drop this here and then click on OK. So our first pivot table has been created. So don't tell me you don't know what those particular boxes here represent. You understand? You must actually know what they do before you start getting things in. So if you want to filter part of the data you brought in or the columns, this is where you actually use, which is under this particular filter here. Then if you want to actually show value across column, this is where you drop any one of the column you want to use. Then over here, it actually helps you to collect categories or text-based value and help you to actually, distribute it according to the values you have right in here. It's easy. Let me show you. Now, the very first thing we want to do is to actually go ahead and create our KPIs. How do we do that? It's easy. So I'm just going to come here and search for net, and that gives me my net revenue. Once I've done that, now the next thing I'm going to do is to search for profit. And here we go. I have my profit right in here. So now I can go ahead and actually create my own profit margin myself without using the one that is actually here. So if I type in profit margin, we have this here. And this is what it's giving us. So the question you might be asking now is that, is this correct? No, because it is using sum. And let's go over to where we have the data that is this referencing right from. So here we have the profit margin as a percentage here. So what Excel does is to actually aggregate these particular values for you. So maybe you still want to make it better. You can actually come back here now and decide to actually right click on this and go over to, view this here value, then use the average. And once you do this and go ahead and turn it into a percentage by clicking on home, then we'll click on percentage here. So this is exactly what we have. So this is not looking better at all. Let's find out if what I'm saying is true or false. So I would love to actually recreate this here. I'm going to talk about this to be net revenue, profits margin, then transaction. Those are the KPIs I want to create. So once I've gotten all of this right in here right now, the next thing we have to do is to make sure we actually get our revenue, which is this particular one here, then followed by this very one. As for profit margin, we can't actually use this. So we have to create our own profit margin. So what do? We put an equal sign here, and we actually take the profit, which is this value here. We divide it by this particular value. And once we hit enter, Control 1, we're going to actually format this into a percentage. And now you can now see the difference. So let's go this and click on OK. So even though if I decide to actually just use one decimal number, this is what I have. So this is the correct version instead of this one that you actually averaged. Okay, now what we need next is for you to actually count the total transaction. That is where knowing how to use this place and this place, this actually comes in. Okay, let us go over here and drag a text column over into this particular part over here. Once I've done that, what happens? It defaults this into count. How do you know? You can see count of product name here. When you come over here, you have the count here. Then if I go ahead and drag a particular column that has to do with what? That has to do with numbers into it, like total cost now. Total cost is going to give you sum. So which means this particular part defaults a column based on the data types, you understand? Although we don't need the cost, I'm just using that as an illustration. So we have gotten this here, which simply means we can come over here right now and quickly go ahead and do reference over here. Okay, I want to do something. I'm going to bring this one down, bring it down. Then over here, I can decide to just Control minus to remove that, and I have this. So the reason why I've done that now is because I want to format this particular part here. So this particular part to be my formatting. So let me show you a quick trick you can actually use, because over here inside Excel, I have Claude in Excel. If I bring it up right now, this is actually going to help me to do anything, write functions and formula, troubleshoot, and actually do all manner of things. So the reason why I'm not actually using Claude actively here is that most of my subscribers cannot actually afford Claude. So I don't want anybody to be like, oh, what are you doing? I can't do it because I don't have a paid version. So Claude must be a premium version to work inside Excel. So for that, let us not use Claude for now. So we're going to use what everyone can use for free. That is GPT. So if you actually have GPT, even though if you do not have subscription, you can still use it for free. So knowing how to use GPT in Excel matters a lot. Let me show you how. So what I want to do right now is that this particular values here, I can decide to actually format it into 1000 like this. So it doesn't make sense if I take this to my dashboard. So I want this to be some kind of, formatted for me. So what do I mean? This is 39.7 million. I want to have 39.8 million approximately. You understand? So those other numbers will be cut off and it will format it in my currency number formatting for me. So I want the Excel function to be written by GPT, but I don't want to actually do it manually. So what do? Watch me do it. So I'll make sure I resize this. Can you see now? Then I'll actually take this up. Can you see it now? Then watch what I'm going to do right now. You see this particular part here is very important when you want to capture this particular header and this particular part here. So capture it as part of it. So over here, this is what suggests what your column is. And over here, these numbers here is your rows, right? So when you take a screenshot, go ahead and use Window, Shift, and S on your keyboard. That will activate this particular screenshot, taker for you. Then try to actually aim this particular part. Can you see it now? Can you see it? Now, what we have just done now is that we have given GPT the column and the row. So now, if you actually give it the right prompt, just copy the code and actually paste it, and it will work 100% without you fixing anything. I am going to paste this over here. Once pasted, quickly record your voice and allow AI to transcribe it. I want you to look at the screenshot I just shared with you, look at the column and the row, and use that to actually write my function for me. So this is what I want. I want to have a number formatting that shows me values in million, billion, and even trillion plus thousand, right? Which simply means if I actually have a value that is actually in million, like maybe 3,957,800, I should just have it summarized into 3.4 or 3.5 or 3.6 million and all of that. So do that and actually return the function I can actually use on my Excel for me. Very simple. Record this and here we go. Just go ahead and actually hit the enter key. So here you go, you have this particular one here. If I scroll down now, you have another version. Look at this version, you have another version. And sometimes it will go ahead and give you like 3 to 4 versions that you can actually use. So let us go, no, I don't want to use this one. I want to go, okay. What I'll do now is this. I'll just say I don't. So what I've just done now is to tell it that I don't want it to actually give me something like this, right? So let us run this. It will just go ahead and actually, edit that for us. We can do that, but that will actually consume our time to start taking them off one after the other. So this is what I want right in here. So this is the trillion, billion, million, and thousand. Then here is 100. Let's copy this and see if this will actually match what we have actually, created in Excel. So over here, I'm going to paste this one right in here. So if I try to paste it now, it's not pasting. So what the problem is that we have to take it off, just wipe off everything. Once you have done that, first of all, put an equal sign, then paste. Once pasted, remove one of the equals sign. Automatically, can you see what I'm telling you? This is what GPT will do for you. But if you don't know how to do this, you have to actually start locating what? Locating the actual, cell and start to actually fit this particular part to it. No. So now we can copy this down to this level. So this is another thing you have to do. If you want to add, dollar sign, Ghana cedis, Naira, or pounds, whatever, you can actually do that yourself. But what if I just go to GPT and just tell GPT something very simple? I want this to be formatted in Naira currency. So can you see it now? So just mention your own country currency and GPT will be happy to do that for you. So once we get in here, what we need to do is just to actually go ahead and actually replace this over here. Take off one of it, hit the enter key, and you have this. I can actually go ahead and copy it down, exclude this one because this one is just transaction. So we have just created the first set of our KPI. Can you see what we have done right now? Very interesting. So this is the first thing you need to actually do. So there will be a lot of steps for this, but if there is going to be a repetition over and over again, I'll show you one in detail and you can actually copy that one to create others. And that will be your practice. So watch what I've done, follow it, create it, and use that to create others. For example, for revenue, we have for profits, we have for transaction, we have for profit margin. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to revolve everything I do around revenue, then use that same knowledge to create for profits, transaction, and as well profit margin. Can you see that right now? So first of all, pay good attention. Ask questions if need be. I'm always online to answer questions, so do that. All right, the next thing I'm going to do right now is to prepare my dashboard environment before I continue analyzing and creating visuals. So over here, the very first thing I need to do is to come over here. This is what you have at default when you just install, Microsoft Excel. This is how it comes. So for you to create good looking dashboard, come over here and make sure you have it on auto hidden ribbon. So after we have done that, those, cells are with some kind of grid lines. You have to remove them. Let's go over to view and turn off this particular formula bar, headings, and grid lines right in here. You have something as plain as this. All right. The next thing you have to do is just Control A to highlight every single cells in this very worksheet. Then let's go to the top ribbon, go to home. From home, click over here and select this second one here. Then you can see how dark it is right now. It's no more normal white. So once you have done this, the next thing I'm going to do, go back to the top ribbon, go to insert, illustrations, then shapes. From here, take this particular rectangle and drag it down over here. So what I'm going to do now is just, okay, maybe if you have just looked at what I've done, I just pushed this to 80% because of the size of my screen. If you have a wide screen, please don't do this. If you have a wide screen, don't do it. But if you have a small screen, I'm not using my bigger, PC to get this done. I'm using a smaller PC to get this done, and I have to just minimize this so that I can actually have more charts that looks beautiful right on it. So don't do this if you have a wider screen. So now I'm going to take this over here, down to here, then do Control 1. With my Control 1, I'll come over here, I'll say no line, go over to the fill and fill it with a dark color like this. Once you have done this right now, Control D to duplicate it. Now, what I'm going to do here now, I'm thinking, so let us go ahead and change this to something like this. This is the color I want over here. So now you can see it's just like overlaying this here to create this particular design. You might be thinking, does this make sense? Is it really important? Why don't you just remove it and make it just flat? Well, I don't know. Maybe that is you. You can do that. So the next thing I'm going to do right now is to go over to the top ribbon here, go to Insert and click on Illustrations, this particular time around shapes, the rounded corner here. Pick it up and you can make this one disappear for the time being. So let us do this, stretch it, then stretch this particular one. So I'm going to move it all the way down here. So I'll maintain white space. So here is what is called white space here. Let me illustrate this to you very well. The space here, the space at the right-hand corner, the space at the bottom part of it. Can you see? The space here, they're the white space. Very important. So once you have gotten this now, and you are very much satisfied with what you have, take it up. So we want another white space here. The white space here should be much more wider than the one at the bottom. So now the rounded corner should be reduced. We don't want something too much, just a little. So once we have done that, we can just make this smaller. Okay, now I want to actually bring this down. Can you see now? Once I've done that, I'll now bring this up. This is just my favorite design. I don't know what you feel to use, so you can use anything you like, but I just love something like this. Okay, now we are not done yet. The next thing I'm going to do right now is to make sure I change the color of what I have here right now. So Control 1, let's go over here and change this to white. Then let us do white with 10% darker, 5% rather. So once we have done that, we just take off the line. So here we go, we have something like this. Can you see it already? So doing this right now helps you to create something that is not flat. So when we have done this, we just have to go all the way back here and create another rounded corner right here. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure the rounded corner is not that much. So I'll just bring this one this way. Now, I want to create 3 of these. You can first of all test it out to see if this will actually give you what you want. Duplicate it, keep it right here. Okay, I think we need 4 of them. So 4 of them right now is taking 2-way space. Over here, I want to have bigger space here. So what you can do is to Ctrl Z again, then just adjust this a little bit this way. So you just go ahead and duplicate and keep them. So the space I have here is enough for what I want to use it for. So now I can actually go ahead and delete those ones. Then focus on this one to actually, create what I want. Then over here now I'm going to actually use white, like 100% white on it. So you can see the white popped out very well. And this is going to be talking about revenue. This is where color actually comes in. So what color do you want to use on your dashboard? So to tell the story right now, for revenue, I might want to use something like blue color for my revenue. Then for profit, I want to use green for profit. And I want to use maybe something like pink for my profit margin. You understand? So yeah, sorry, this is black. For transaction, I choose to use black. Then something like pink for profit margin. So this sync will connect. watch it and see how it goes. So once you have actually known how the colors will go, we can actually come back to this particular part right now. And on this particular line, we choose the color that matches what we want to show on our KPI. We want to go with this particular color. So if you look at it, this is what I have right now. You can make it thicker than this by going over straight up to here to make it much more thicker. So once you have this, this is how it is going to actually look. So now the next thing we have to do is to start bringing in our, KPIs. So this is the advantage of you using Claude. So over here, I'm going to actually say, just copy this one and paste it over here. So you can actually use Claude to create icons for this. Should I show you how? So over here, I'm going to say KPI, then icons. So I'm going to highlight this particular environment. Once you have done that, you go over to Claude. Don't worry, if you cannot use Claude for free, I'm going to show you a website that will actually help you to do exactly what I'm doing here right now, like not even using prompt. Just go there and download your icons and you bring it to Excel. And Excel has an inbuilt icons as well that you can use. But if you don't have the icons you need in Excel, you can always ask Claude to create icons for you. So let us do this. I want you to take a look at the highlighted range. So I have KPI that has revenue, profit, transaction, and profit margin. And I have another column that has icons. So I want you to actually create, icons that will match each and every one of the KPIs I have right in here right now. Go ahead and create. So as this is actually going through it, let us quickly go to the top here and go over to insert. From insert illustrations, then go ahead and click on icons. So from here, you can see several icons that you can use. Aside this particular part, let me take you over to this website. So let us locate this website called flaticon.com. Flat icon. So if you have been following my tutorials before now, you would have known flat icon. You understand? So here is it. We have flat icon. Over here, you can actually get animated, icons. You can actually get SVG. You can get PNG. Just name it. So let us take off this one here. All you have to do, can you see them now? Is for you to just search for maybe trend. Once you search for trend, you're going to see all the charts. Sorry, all the icons that can be used for anything trend. Can you see them right now? Can you see them? Importantly. So if you still have If you still have GPT free version, GPT can still help you. Can you see now? We have gotten this right in here. GPT can still create the same thing for you. Just go to GPT and ask GPT to actually create icons for you, and GPT will do the same exact thing. It depends on what you really want to actually have. So now we have this right in here. The next thing we have to do right now is to start utilizing this. Go ahead and actually close this. Over here, we're going to go straight up to insert, then go to this particular box, which is text box over here, and drag it down. So from here, we have to turn on formula bar. If I'm too fast, please just pause some time to take a look at what I've done. Equals here. Then we go over here. I will pick this one for net revenue. So this is how it looks over here. Can you see it now? So we can now bring it over to this particular part. Then we'll control 1. Then we turn off this. So I'm not sure if we can actually affect this. So by going over here, let's see, go to home, go to shape format. No, we can't change the color. Then let's see over here, we can't do nothing on it. So we can't change the color. So maybe if we have to change the color, we can actually do that over here. Is it possible? So we can't change the color to another color, but you can actually ask, Claude to give you a different color that matches what you want if you don't want this one here. So if you want to make it bigger, all you have to do is to increase the size through here. Can you see? We can make it bigger through there. It's just like normal text. So once I've gotten this now, I'm going to duplicate it and keep this over here, then widen it now and type in my net revenue. Then my net revenue will come as a darker one, something like this. So I can actually go ahead and reduce the size. So This looks cool for me. Then duplicate it now and keep it right here. So we're using this one, then hit the enter key. We have this. So now we have to actually choose the font we want to use. So go over to the font, then choose any font of your choice. So if you want to use this, go with this one. Then increase the font size over here if that is what you want, and make sure it actually sits well right in here. So now we have something that looks like this. Can you see it now? So once we have this, I'm going to change the color to match what I want. So I'll go with this particular color. I've said it earlier, this is the color. Okay, after I get in this here, the next thing we need to actually have in here right now is the average monthly revenue and the last month's comparison in value and in percentage to see if we have growth or not. Let me show you how to do that. First of all, go straight up to here, duplicate, and bring this down here and type in here AVG month, just like this. So once I've done this, straight up to here and just go ahead and reduce it. Don't make it too big, so make it smaller. And sometimes, I don't know, I love using italic for this situation. Then bring this over here. Just keep it over here. Then keep this one over here. This one now, I think I don't need to create another one. This has to be dynamic. The next one coming up has to be dynamic. You understand? So we'll keep this one over here. And now we'll go ahead and look at how we're going to create the average monthly revenue and the last month versus the current month. So I've told you, please pay attention to every single thing I'm doing right now, because you're going to actually apply the same thing to get all of those ones here done. It's very important. Take note of that. So the first pivot table we have created, we can actually reuse it again. So which simply means we come over here, we copy this particular pivot table from here, highlight everything and copy. Once copied, you can actually paste it anywhere you like. So in this particular case, I would love to paste it right. I'm thinking of something. Do I need a pivot table now? The answer is yes, I need a pivot table. Paste it down here. And in this particular pivot table, remove every single thing you have in it. Remove it. Remove this one here, and let us go ahead and bring in the order date into it. So once we have the order date here, take off this particular order date, and we are left with the month right in here, right? So maybe your question now will be like, why are you doing this? I'll show you. So over here, please try as much as you could to remove the grand total. So to do that right now, we come over here, go to design, and click over this particular part, show this particular report layout, just use on show in tabular form. Once you've done that, go to grand total and turn it off. So here we have this. So this is one thing you have to understand. Months in a year is 12, right? So which simply means if we want to get the average monthly revenue, so we can actually come over here right now and move this a little bit down right here. So we're going to do average. So we're going to create a lot of average. I can just do it over here, average monthly revenue. So what we ought to have done is to actually pick the total revenue, which is this particular one, or this one over here, by doing equals this particular value divided by 12. Now, this is our average monthly revenue, which is 100% correct. But unfortunately, this wouldn't be responding to Slicer. So if specifically you select a particular, region, and that region does not have transaction for every single month in the year, maybe it has transaction for just like 6 months out of the 12th month, then this will return wrong calculation. So let me show you the example. I'm going to create another one over here, but this time around, I want to actually count how many months we have right in here. So over here, count of months. So the count of months, I'm going to use the count a function, highlight. Now we have 12. You get it right now. So I'm going to actually create another average monthly revenue here by doing this particular one by this very one here. So maybe your question now will be like, what is now the difference? We have the same exact value. Yes, if you say that, you are 100% correct. Thank you very much. But let me help you do something. If I come over here and filter just January to May and click on OK over here. Now, this changed. This does not change. It remains static. You understand? It will change when other filter is being used to apply on this particular pivot table. This value will change, but it will always do division by 12. So to avoid that particular static division by 12, we have to count how many months we have. So that when filter affects this and actually reduce the number of months, we have the actual average based on the month selected. Think about it. It's a smart move, right? Okay, beautiful. So we can actually go ahead and clear this slicer now. This one is not needed. So now we need to actually make sure we copy this and use it right here. So what am I going to do to make it easy for me? I'll just go ahead and move this gradually to this side. Let us do a smart move. We'll call this one smart move. So I'll just go ahead and move this one over here. No, this wouldn't work. Let us copy everything. Once copied, we paste it right in here. So when you always paste, you just do equals and you remove the first one, then it's looking at that. So you now copy this one down. You can now go ahead and copy this same one or cut it away from there and bring it over here. So can you see how easy this could be right now? Right here, if you want to format it. We cannot take this one back to where we actually picked it from. You understand? This is what we have. So in my own case, I love this already. So all I have to do right now is to go straight up to here and click over here, duplicate this one, then keep this over here and do equals. Then let's get it straight up to here now, pick it up and hit the enter key. We can now go ahead and actually increase the size a bit. So here we go, we have this. So I think I would love to use a darker color. Let's go with this one, much more brighter than the title itself. This next one here is very, very simple, but complicated if you don't know how to actually, pay attention and get what you want. So what we're going to show here now is showing the previous month here, like the name of the month. So when we select February, we want to return January because it's the previous month of February right in here. And aside that, we want to show the value of the previous month, which will not be this any longer. It can be less than or greater than whatever is here. So this one is going to be showing the current, while this one is showing the previous. And over here, we're going to have the changes between the previous month and the current month in either minus or plus, negative or positive value. So how easy do you think that will be? So if you are used to Power BI, our previous month and month over month change is what I'm talking about. But in Excel, it's a different thing entirely. So you have to know how to customize it. Let me show you. So coming back here right now, so I'm going to actually copy this pivot table from here. So maybe a question now will be like, why are you doing this copying and paste? And why are we always in the same sheet? The reason why I'm doing this is to actually prevent the pivot cache. Pivot cache is what actually helps you to have a flow of filter whenever you click on slicer. So to break this right now is to open a new sheet and go ahead and create another pivot table. That one might be disconnecting from the previous one. I don't know how to explain this, but that is just what it is. So just go ahead and Google pivot cache in pivot table to actually show you what it is. So once I've gotten this right now, we want to actually come over here and right click, then go straight up to this particular show feed list here. You get it right now. So over here, I'm going to add my net revenue. So profits. So once we have our profit here, to create a profit margin, I believe you still understood what we have done here to actually get that done. If you don't know, just go ahead and double click on this one. So it's actually dividing the profit by the net revenue. That gives you what? That gives you the profit margin. Okay. So we come over here. We just go ahead and do this. Profit by this gives you whatever you have here, right? So you can Control 1 and go to percentage straight up here, and even reduce the decimal number. So you have this. Okay, we have gotten our margin here. This is where the magic will now come in. Please pay attention very well. This is very important. So the next thing we have to do, as you can see I'm keeping the back end very clean. You understand? Don't paste it anywhere you like. So now that we are here, we're going to actually get this very pivot table again copied. You understand? Copied. Or we can use this very one to get what we want. But I would love to actually copy it for another use so that we can actually be here and use it. So watch what I'm doing here. I'm going to paste it over here now. Over here. So once I paste it over here, so what I want to do right now is to apply slicer on this one. Others will have similar slicer, but right now let's just focus on this one. So go ahead and right click over here and add slicer. Once added, every single time I make a selection, this is giving me the current filter context. Now this particular slicer, I will go over to here. I'll click on this one. I am going to rename this. So you can rename your pivot table. Go over to pivot table analyze, go over here and just name this one KPIs. You get it right now. So you can name this one so that you can actually control the average. So I can just name this one now. Go over to here, just name it AVG for average. You understand? Okay, this one we don't need to place any slicer on it. You understand? So for that, if I'm connecting my slicer, I can actually rename it. I'll call this one month over month change table. You understand? Then this one here, the slicer is already on it. So I can just go ahead and rename this one to PCM. That is previous and current month, whatever. I'm just trying to, be very simple. Okay, now, after we have gotten all of this done, we're going to come over here and say we want to extract what? Over here, we want to extract the current month. Then, previous month. Now, this is our current month. But one thing is this. This current month should always show when there is a slicer. So if there is no slicer here being placed on it, we don't want the current month to show. So the current month will determine the previous month. And this is going to be tricky, right? So first of all, we cannot just say this one is coming first. We want to actually use that as our first month right in here. No. So what do? We come over here and do count of month. So the count of month, we use the count A function. The count A helps you to count text. So we count this particular part here and it returns 12 for us. So once it returns 12, we can use that 12 to now customize what we want to see here. I'm going to use the if function to say if this particular number here is equals 1. That is when I want to see any value that is actually here. Hit enter key. So now it's giving us false. Can you see now? Can you see now? So we don't want this particular false to be shown to us. You understand? So instead, we can control it with what we call if error. If error. So if there is any error, give us blank. So we close and hit our enter key. So if error seems not to work on this, so what do? We can actually use another way to get it done. So what we can do right now is to say if inside if. So if this particular one here is equals 12, then if that is the case, go ahead and give me blank. Otherwise, run this. So come over here and close. Let's see. What the heck is wrong? If this here is equals blank, then go ahead and run this. Otherwise, so we have to take off this particular one. So I don't know, my bad. Just let us do this again. So now the if error is not working to actually give us blank. So I'm going to take off the if error for now. So as you can see, the if error is gone. So we still have if. So we have to take off this one, take off. Now we have the false. So when we have the false, we're only trying to display something here when there is one here. So let us go ahead and actually say if this one is actually, which is going to be under if again. So if it's asking for the logical test, this particular number is equals 12, then go ahead and give us blank, double quotes blank, comma. Otherwise, go ahead and run this particular one here. Then we can now go ahead and close, hit our enter key. Now we have the blank. So sometime if error wouldn't work, that one will work. So if I select right now, I have this. So the next question you have to ask right now is that how do we return the previous month? How possible do you think that is? It's easy. Let me show you. You see, to return the previous month right now, you have to find the position of this particular one here. Which means we have to find the position of this one. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So how can we find the position? So we just have to call this one current month position. So what we need to do right now is to use a function called match function. So with the equal sign, we'd use match function to return, to check for this. Either you select here or you select here, all the same. So I'll select from here. Then, comma. It's asking for table array. That is, where can we find this? Then you now come over here to search for it. Once found, give us 0 exact match. So now we have 6. So if I select the first one, we have 1. You understand? If I select this one now, we have this. If I don't select anything, I have NA. So NA here, we want to print nothing or display a message using if error. This time around, if error will work. So just come over here and say no selection. Then you close and hit the enter key. Can you see it now? So when there's a selection, we have this. Now, how can we use this to behave in a way that it will return the previous month? It's easy. Let me show you. You see, come over here and be doing this too. So which means we are going to create a helper column. Sorry, we start from January. So a helper column. So call this one helper, just helper, whatever. So these numbers here will help us to return the previous month. So what we're going to do right now is to return the previous month. If I now do this now, and I just do this, I know what I'm about to do right now will not work, but this is needed for you to understand the behavior of what I am about to do. So I'm going to use the VLOOKUP here. The VLOOKUP is looking up for this. It's using this to actually map what we want to return. So select this as the lookup value. Then the lookup array is to select this particular 2 over here. Once you've done that, comma, it's asking for the column you want to return something from, 2. 0 to give me exact match. Then I close, I hit my enter key. I have the same array. So you can see now that this does not make any sense. How can we make it make sense? So all you have to do is to come over here and do -1, which is at this particular part here, -1. That is before the no selection. Hit the enter key. Can you see it now? Does it work? Yes. So if I select January here, it's returning NA because there is no month before January. You understand? So what do we do here? We just have to use an error, formatting. So if error here, if that is okay, let us cancel and move this one first. Move this one away first. So now we use the error handling. So we want to display nothing. You understand? So we only have the current month. So whenever we actually select a month that has a previous, we actually have whatever it is back. All right, everyone, it's getting more interesting, right? Let us do return the actual current month here revenue, previous month revenue, and month over month change. So this is how we calculate this. So I believe by now you should have known how to get all of this done, because I have made things very, very easy for you. This is very, very easy. So what do? It's very easy. Let's come over here now. To pull the current month revenue, we use the same VLOOKUP. So now you can actually see what I'm doing. So the VLOOKUP is looking up for this particular one. This is our current month, comma here. Then we go into this particular part here and we select this particular area that includes our revenue. Then we select 2, we select 0 for exact match, we close and we hit our enter key. Then the previous month now, we do the same thing, VLOOKUP. You can use index and match, you can use VLOOKUP, you can use XLOOKUP, depends on which one you understand how to use. Select this one, then do the same exact thing we have done before, comma 2, comma 0 for the exact match, then we hit the enter key. Can you see what I have right now? So the next thing we have to do is to create month over month change, which is something very, very simple. You understand? How do you do that? It's easy. So you place an equal sign here, open parenthesis, and what do you do for the first time? You take the current month value, you subtract it from the previous month value, you close and you divide by what? You divide by what? I can't hear you. By the same previous month here. Once you've done that, hit your enter key, and now we can control 1 and go ahead and format it to a percentage. So here gives us minus 1.42. So if you want to see if this is correct or not, what do? Let us repeat the same thing we have done here. Put your equal sign. Maybe your question now will be like, why are you not putting the equal sign at January? Because January is our previous month and our current month now is February. So remember that. So what do we do right here? We open the same parenthesis here. So once we have done that, we take our current month, which is this particular value here, we subtract it from the previous month. Then we close and we divide by the previous month. We hit our enter key, and if this is correct, we just go ahead and drag down. We can come over here and format as a percentage with 1 decimal or 2 decimal number if you feel like, just to have the same feel as this one. So what month is selected? The month of February. Please take a look at this line. So just this particular one here. Can you see? Let us select May. So for the month of May, we come over here, we highlight. Can you see it now? This is what we have. I think this is easy and anybody can do this. You might be thinking it's complex. You would have done this even though if I give you as an assignment and I didn't show you. It will be very easy for you to get if I can give you a proper description of how you could go about it. So right now you have learned how to use VLOOKUP, how to use count A, how to use the match function, and how to use pivot table and how to find percentages. Now it is almost time to start using this. So what I'm going to do right now is to actually use the previous month. So to use the previous month now, I have to get the same formatting I'm using right in here. To get that now, I'm just going to double click on this one and copy everything from here. Ctrl C to copy. Then let's go straight up to here and paste it right in here with our first equal sign. Then we'll take off the equal sign, hit the enter key. So right now this is looking at a different cell entirely. So highlight this particular one and feed it to this very one here. So double click on it and copy it. Now you replace it with D15. Anywhere you see that particular value, you just replace it. Can you see now? You replace it. You replace this one. You replace this one. make sure you replace everything. It's very important. So hit the enter key. So have we made any mistake somewhere? So we might. So I think I have to do it again. So this here should replace this one. Now, if you double click once more, you can copy. You can now replace all of those ones here. Just double click and paste. Can you see how easy it is? So if you are still watching as we are doing this, please just go ahead and take, the time to follow this very account by subscribing. It's very important. And just go ahead and click on the like button and help me to actually share this. I'm begging you. It's very important. You see that your comment, it actually keeps me going over and over again, because every single time I find out that somebody found value and leave the comment, it helps me to actually create more. Okay, now we have this, right? We're going to go ahead and actually use this. But before we do that, let us create one sheet that will actually take our formattings. So I'm just going to call this particular worksheet formattings over here. Then put an equal sign here and go back to pivot engine and pick up this, hit the key. So while we are here, go to here, go to view, go to this particular part and turn off every single thing you have right in here and leave it as plain as this. So if need be, you can decide to just increase the size a little bit. Okay, once I've gotten this right now, the next thing I'm going to do is to make sure I add up and down arrow. So over here, I'm going to type in up, down. So here we'll define my up and down arrow that shows negative and positive value. So what I'm going to do right in here right now is to hold my Windows key, full stop, that will actually pop out this. Then once you have this, maybe this is your first time, it is your Windows key on your keyboard, then hold it down, the tab key, which is, the full stop or the dot key on your keyboard. Once you just tap it, it will actually bring this up. Go over here, and now let us locate up arrow. So here we have the up arrow. So we click over here now, window, full stop. So we now have the down arrow to be there. So let's go straight up to this particular one that's looking down. So we have those arrows here now. So we're going to recreate this particular one inside here. This one is needed. Don't overwrite what is here. So what I'm going to do right now is to use if function to actually check if this particular value is greater than 0. Give me up, otherwise give me down arrow. So using the if function here, I'm going to check if this particular one here is greater than 0. Then go ahead and give me the up arrow here, this one. Otherwise, give me this very one. So it's giving me down arrow. So what is left? We have to concatenate this one to it. So very easy. Just make sure if that is true, which is if that is true before you even show this. Okay, maybe in an easiest way, let me just show you this way. So if this particular value here is greater than 0, then you want to actually show this and ampersand to concatenate this to it. You understand? Otherwise, give me blank. And here you go. Now I have blank, right? So I'm trying to show you something. It's very important. I will now see if it is actually less than. So you have this. So this is what I'm trying to show you. So you're going to have this number, like this huge number, and you have to format it, right? But this is not correct because it's supposed to be showing us down arrow. The correct one would have been this particular one here, greater than. So now where we have this here, we need to actually have this particular arrow here. And we're going to go ahead and actually have what? Have the ampersand and get this one into it. Now we have this. So what are we supposed to do to have the actual percentage like this one? It's easy. Do you know the text function? Yes, that is what you have to use. Use the text function over the E11 here. So text, then go to 11 after 11 and actually put a comma on it. Inside double quotes 0.0%, then close it. So do the same thing to E11. Text, go to the front of 11. Put a comma on it, 0.0%. Then go ahead and close and hit your enter key. Now we have something like this. You see this now? So once you've gotten this, it's not enough. You can actually make sure you turn this into color, green and maybe red. Okay, so how do you do that? It's easy. Go over here, go to home, go to here, go to this particular part, new rule, or go to manage rules. Then once you have this up, you can click on new rule here. Then you can click on this particular use formula to determine which cell to format. Then over here, select and click on this particular one and say if this one is greater than 0, then you want to have a green color. Go over to this particular font and select any green of your choice. Go with this one. You understand? Then click on OK. Then click on OK over here. Then if I click on apply now, it is not giving me because it is less than. So we click on this particular one here. We go straight up to this particular one, select this particular box and click over here. So if it is less than 0, then we come over here right now. We go over to font, we click over here. We choose to have it on red and click on OK, OK, and OK. So now we do have this. Okay, this is where the purpose actually comes in. The reason why I have this right here is that over here, I wouldn't have control over what I want. Like removing the grid lines might not look cool for me. I just want to have the grid lines right in here. So for that, I can take it off right in here and create my thing. Okay, so once you have done this now, Control C. Then we go over to our dashboard environment. Don't select this, select an empty cell. Anyway, you can select a cell. Select a cell. Once you've selected a cell, right click and go over here, go down. You see where it says link picture? Click on it. This is actually a picture that you can use over here. So right now we are not yet done. We have to bring in the value, actual value right in here. So what I'm going to do right now, quickly come over here and add a title for it. Title. So the title now will be inside here versus space concatenate April. Sorry, was it April? Yeah, April is the previous month. Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. I didn't do the equals here. So equals, so we select April. When May selected, so versus April, this is it. So we just go straight up back to dashboard environment. And now we do this. I bring this down over here. So I'm going to actually go ahead and put an equal sign and go straight up to here now and just go ahead and pick up this one like this and try to actually apply the same formatting for it. So you see that? Here we go, we have this. So we might even decide to increase it by holding our Ctrl key. Then to select both of them, I'll just increase this way. Then I'll now just go ahead and actually stretch it a little bit. Both of them will show. I can now move this one over here. Now double this one and keep this over here. Put an equal sign on it and let's go straight up to this particular pivot engine and pick up the previous month value. So once you have it in here, make sure you apply the same formatting on it. So once you've done that, this is going to stay right in here. You can try it. Let us test out what we have done by picking up the slicer, cut it, and over here you do paste. So once pasted, test it out. Can you see? Have a green color. So maybe this one is not just showing up the way you like it. Delete it. Let's go over here. We can have a control of it on the formatting area. So we just go straight up to this particular part and we increase the size. You understand? Let's see. Once you increase the size, you just have to go over to view and turn on this particular headings over here and do this. You understand? Then copy, everything shows up. We now go back to here and over here, we paste this one in. Oh, not paste in. So please, when you copy from here, don't paste. You understand? Don't copy from here and do Ctrl V. Don't do that. So what you need to do is to go back here and right click on an empty cell and always select this particular link picture. So now we can bring this over here. So we can manually reduce what we want. So reduce it to give us what we want. So just keep it around here. Once done, just go ahead and shift this one to complement it. Okay, now Can you see what we have done now? So this particular one is not connected to this one yet. So we're going to actually go ahead and right click over here and go to report connections. Then we'll locate KPI average as well. So don't connect it to month over month change table. Don't connect it, leave it this way. So now thinking, click on OK. Here we go. Can you see now? Can you see? So the current month, February, is returning 3.1 million. So while the previous month is returning 3.2 million and it's down. So this one here, can you see it now? Can you see? This is exactly what we want to have, a game changer. So all the values here are changing. That simply means the slicer is affecting this, this, and this. So I think I deserve something. You can give me money, right? No problem. You can give me like, and you can give me comment. If you are still watching up to this particular end, please go back to this very video. Go down, go to the comment section, and just type in continue for me to actually finish every single thing from A to Z for you guys. It's very important. Please leave a comment and like. All right. I'm going to give you an assignment. I'm going to change the font here before I give you the assignment. Go to home and let us search. I think let us just keep it on bold. Okay, this is better. So let me give you an assignment. Now we have done for net revenue. Come over to your pivot engine here and let us scroll to this very end. So please do for profit margin. You understand? Transaction is not going to have the previous and even the average. Just leave it that way. So do for profit and profit margin. And we continue from there. That is your assignment. Just type continue so that I shouldn't sleep on it. I'll just do and post it in the next few hours to this if you are just learning right now. Your comment is always welcome to me. Please go ahead and leave a comment and like. So see you in the next video.